The son of President Joe Biden has known no shortage of controversy in recent years, which means there was plenty to discuss when we sat down to chat not long ago. You've said your dad always saw the good in you through all of this. Was there ever a time when you thought, okay, there's no way, he's going to give up on me, I've done it now?
Never, not once.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society.
Hunter Biden is the president's second son, a Yale-trained lawyer and a lobbyist.
All right, so a lobbying firm linked to Hunter Biden is now under federal investigation, according to a brand new report. That firm is called Blue Star Strategies. It is now facing scrutiny over work that it did for one of its clients, a Ukrainian energy company you've probably heard of. It's called Burisma. We know that the president's son previously served on its board.
Whose well-publicized drug problems, personal scandals, and business dealings seem to have kept him in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. There's a current Department of Justice investigation into your finances.
Yep.
What is it about?
This is a very far-reaching subpoena, and it is one that is quite broad. It doesn't seem like just a tax evasion investigation.
Yeah, that's the big question, and I really think that's going to be the ultimate test here of the Attorney General, ultimately, is whether or not this is just a tax case or something bigger. I mean, the investigation has two big landmark self-inflicted injuries that we know of, the first being leaving the laptop at the repair shop. The second is probably this: fighting a paternity suit against an Arkansas stripper has led to an easy avenue for federal prosecutors to have kind of contemporaneous records of income and expenses for Hunter Biden. I mean, these are self-inflicted dumb moves by him.
More news about the son of the current president than vice president. The former stripper who had a child with Hunter Biden was reportedly on his consulting firm's payroll when she became pregnant, even though the president's son claimed he didn't know her. Text messages obtained by the Daily Mail from Hunter Biden's now infamous laptop apparently show he booted her off the company's insurance plan at his own request just months after she gave birth. Hunter Biden settled a paternity suit with that woman back in 2018. Carly Shimkus, Fox News Headlines 24/7 reporter, joins now. Carly.
Yeah, I mean, the seedy details of Hunter Biden's life continue to be made public thanks to this laptop. Now, this all has to do with London Roberts, who, like you said, became pregnant with Hunter Biden's baby in 2017. And for those who are unfamiliar with the story, he initially denied that the baby was his and refused to pay child support. She took him to court. That's when we found out about this baby. And now, according to the Daily Mail, they published text messages and emails that claim to show that Hunter Biden made sure that London Roberts was no longer on his health insurance plan just 3 months after she gave birth. And there are other text messages that show that when she was pregnant, she tried to reach out to him and tell him the due date of the baby, and he never responded. So, Harris, this is why when he was promoting his book and he was doing the late night circuit and people were applauding him, it was mind-blowing because, yes, he's the president's son, but he's not a good guy. And if you're a feminist, he is, public enemy number one.
Can you say anything more?
I can't, but I can say this, is I'm cooperating completely. And I am absolutely certain, 100% certain, that at the end of the investigation, that I will be cleared of any wrongdoing.
You're 100% certain?
I'm 100% certain of it. And all I can do is cooperate and trust in the process.
From the time he was a toddler, Hunter Biden and his older brother Beau were fixtures in Joe Biden's public life. And when they were both hurt in the 1972 car crash that killed their mother and sister, their dad, a newly elected U.S. senator, took his oath of office in a hospital room.
If in 6 months or so there's a conflict between my being a good father and being a good senator, which I hope will not occur, we can always get another senator, but they can't get another father. If in 6 months or so there's a conflict between my being a good father and being a good senator, which I hope will not occur, we can always get another senator, but they can't get another father.
But as the Biden sons got older, their paths diverged. Beau was a war veteran and Delaware Attorney General with his sights set on higher office. But Hunter, who was kicked out of the Navy Reserve after failing a drug test, grappled with substance abuse for years. And after Beau died of brain cancer in 2015, Hunter says he was binge drinking vodka so heavily that his father intervened.
He came to my apartment one time, and this is when he was still in office as vice president. And so he kind of ditched the Secret Service, figured out a way to get over to the house. And I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Honey, what are you doing?" I said, "Dad, I'm fine." He said, "You're not fine."
He sought and got help in rehab.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said, rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, we must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist. And we must deal with that.
But in time, he fell off the wagon and deeper into the abyss.
You would wake up some mornings, I shouldn't even say some mornings because you slept for like 15 minutes at a time, and be looking for crack and just smoke whatever was there?
Yeah, I spent more time on my hands and knees.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can, take everything you own, everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you just got caught engaging in. They can take everything.
Picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know, I'm sure, Tracy.
Because there'd be crumbs mixed in and
I mean, I went one time for 13 days without sleeping and smoking crack and drinking vodka exclusively throughout that entire time.
Hunter Biden's struggle with his personal demons is a big part of his new book, from an imprint of Simon & Schuster, a Viacom CBS company. The title, Beautiful Things, is a phrase he and his brother shared to remind each other of the good in life.
It was the last thing that he said to me.
Was?
Beautiful things. And I held his hand, and he took his last breath.
Beau's death shook the entire Biden family, but the way Hunter dealt with his grief made headlines when he began dating his brother's widow.
After Beau died, you started a romantic relationship with Hallie, his widow.
Yep.
When the news of that broke, how did people look at you?
I think people were confused by it, and I understand that. I mean, I really do. To me, it's not something that is difficult to explain because it came out of a real overwhelming grief that we both shared. And we were together and trying to do the right thing. And that grief turned into a hope for a love that maybe could replace what we lost. And it didn't work.
I mean, you said you lost clients over this, you lost business over this?
Yeah,
You had
absolutely.
to step down from the World Food Program?
Yeah. Well, I made a lot of decisions that I probably shouldn't have made. There was a lot more compassion and understanding for the people that knew me, but it was a horrible time too.
And then there's this. In 2014, the younger Biden took a job on the board of a Ukrainian energy company, Burisma Holdings, at a time when his father, who was then vice president, had an active role in U.S. policy toward Ukraine. It raised eyebrows at the time, but by the 2020 elections, Hunter Biden was the center of a political firestorm.
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. It
For
wasn't dishonorably.
cocaine use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
We know that Joe Biden had intertwined finances with his son Hunter when Hunter and his business partners were paying off Joe's bills, like his home repairs and his private phone lines. So it's very possible that the president, Joe Biden, may also find himself in the crosshairs of a federal investigation.
Looking back, did you make a mistake taking a spot on that board?
No, I don't think I made a mistake in taking the spot on the board. I think I made a mistake in terms of underestimating the way in which it would be used against me. And
But you must have seen the optics. Even back then, you must have, I mean, how could you not have foreseen that this was going to look bad?
Did you
and your father ever discuss Ukraine?
No. As I said, the only time was after a news account, and it wasn't a discussion in any way. There's no but to this, no.
When he said, I hope you know what you're doing, what did he think you were doing?
Well, he read the press reports that I joined the board of Burisma, which was a Ukrainian natural gas company. And there's been a lot of misinformation about me, not about my dad. Nobody buys that, but it buys this idea that I was unqualified to be on the board.
What were your qualifications to be on the board of Burisma?
Well, I was vice chairman of the board of Amtrak for 5 years. I was the chairman of the board of the UN World Food Program. I was a lawyer for Boies Schiller Flexner, one of the most prestigious law firms in the world.
You didn't have any extensive knowledge about natural gas or Ukraine itself, though.
No, but I think that I had as much knowledge as anybody else that was on the board.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
Why did you leave the board in April?
It's a 5-year term.
And you chose not to
I chose
continue.
not to. Yeah.
Why?
I think it's pretty obvious why.
This is your opportunity to say why.
Well, because this is what becomes a distraction, because I have to sit here and answer these questions. And so that's why I've committed that I won't serve on any boards or I won't work directly for any foreign entities when my dad becomes president.
Do you regret being on the board to begin with?
No, I don't regret being on the board. What I regret is not taking into account that there would be a Rudy Giuliani and a president of the United States that would be listening to this ridiculous conspiracy idea.
Well, I'm not sure you should assume I'm not corrupt, but thank you for that, though. See, I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself in the manner in which I talk about it. But what happened was they said, come back when you're 40, son.
Because I really didn't. I'm being as honest with you as I possibly can. All I know is that not one investigative body, not one serious journalist has ever come to the conclusion that I did anything wrong or that my father did anything wrong.
So pro-Trump lawyer Lynn Wood, remember Lynn Wood? He's a fiery one, all right? Lynn Wood shared what he claims to be an email, let's put up the email, between Tucker Carlson and Hunter Biden, proving his claims that they are buddy-buddy. Lynn Wood posted a screenshot of the email on the conservative-friendly chat app Telegram, showing an apparent conversation between the two where they discuss Hunter Biden writing a recommendation letter for Buckley, Carlson's son, to get into Georgetown University. The text from the email from Tucker says, Hunter, I can't thank you enough for writing that letter to Georgetown on Buckley's behalf. So nice of you. I know it'll help. Hope you're great. And we can all get dinner soon. Tucker. All right, Hunter says, hey, buddy, I need Buckley's CV. If you have one handy, thanks. Tucker, of course. Getting on a plane right now, but I'll ask Susie to send it right away. Thanks again. It's really nice of you to do this. Susie is his wife, all right?
But the rumors lived on. In October 2020, a New York Post article said that emails purportedly showing shady dealings in Ukraine by Hunter Biden were found on a laptop computer that he supposedly left in a Delaware repair shop in 2019. The details were sketchy at best. And last month, a declassified intelligence report said that before the election, the Russians had launched a smear campaign against Joe Biden and his family.
It does not specifically talk about your laptop.
Yeah.
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you know that this
I
is
really don't know.
Okay.
The answer is.
You don't know yes or no if the laptop
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea. I have no idea.
So it could have been yours.
Of course, certainly. There could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. There could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
And you didn't drop off a laptop to be repaired in Delaware?
Not that I remember at all. So we'll see. Usually he calls me right before he goes to bed just to tell me that he loves me.
Hunter Biden says he's rebuilding now and sober since he married South African film producer Melissa Cohen in May 2019. If his story means anything, he told us, it's that the only thing more powerful than a monstrous addiction or eviscerating grief is a family's love.
Did you say you and your dad talk every night?
Every night, yeah.